Hello YouTube, SentinalhMC here for episode 3 of Let's Build a Wizard's Manor. Now, I got really upset a moment ago because I got done recording what was supposed to be episode 3, and then come to find out that none of the audio recorded because once again the microphone crapped out on me and I had to unplug it and plug it back in. I don't know if my microphone's going bad or what, but it's really annoying. But it's not that bad because I didn't really do much. All I did was cap that off with some bricks and then build out this thing over here. So nothing much happened last episode when I did that recording, so it's not really that big of a deal. But it really makes me upset because it's stuff's supposed to work and it's been working all along, but now all of a sudden it's deciding it wants to quit working, and I'm gonna have to move that. I'm not gonna be able to have a window there. So yeah, let's just go ahead and pillar on up there and do this. Ugh, so annoying. So I'll have to check the audio levels and make sure that they're going to be okay before I go and render this video out, because that's what happened last time. The last time it did this, then the audio levels were too faint and people had trouble hearing me in the last episodes of this little buildy series. So anyway, I wasn't talking about much last episode. I was talking about, it's now the stuff that you will never get to hear. But I was talking about what I was talking about the last episode, where I started rambling about Fallen Earth. But basically, what I was saying there was that I like games where you have to use use your skills to improve them. So I liked the. Oh, I can have a window here. I liked the that was the Morrowind and it's the Elder Scrolls style, which was quite different to me when I first played. The first Elder Scrolls game I played was Morrowind, and I still think it's the best one. Alright, gotta make some more stairs. I still think Morrowind's the best one, but it was a different style for me because I grew up playing. This is an odd window to have, but it doesn't really matter. I grew up playing D&D style games, so Neverwinter Nights. That was the one that I grew up playing a lot of. It was one of the first games that I actually bought, was Neverwinter Nights. I remember seeing it in the store, having no idea what it was, except that it looked really cool. Back in the days when I bought, when you bought boxed games from the grocery store, supermarket. I had no idea what the game was. I had never had any exposure to D&D before that, but I loved it. The game was awesome. First D&D game I ever played. Because I never played the pen and paper version until years later when I went to a church youth camp, and one of the guys that was there, he was a DM, and he brought his Dungeons and Dragons, and we all played. Yeah, so that was my but. I like both the styles, but I tend to like the Elder Scrolls style a bit more. The style where you have to use the abilities, the skills. I don't know, I think it gives a more immersive experience where, you don't just suddenly get better at something because you gained enough experience and you dinged over. But, those games have their place. One of the things I said in the commentary for the bit that got lost was I'd quite like to do some Let's Plays of other games, but I want to keep my focus on Minecraft and on these other building style games because they are my favorite and they are the ones that I am the best at. If you want to see me fail at games though, let me know. Okay, I need to go get some coal to cook up my cobblestone into smooth stone to make bricks. This is a survival build, so I gotta get all my resources myself. And then that led me into a discussion of what games would I do, and I think it would be quite awesomely fun to do a Let's Play of my favorite game ever. The problem with doing a Let's Play of my favorite game ever is that my favorite game ever is a game called Dark Cloud 2 for the PlayStation 2. And if you know what that game is, you're probably going like, oh, that game's awesome, which I hope you are, because I think so. But if you don't know what that game is, it's a ridiculously fun game for the PlayStation 2. You should totally get an emulator and download the ROM and play it. Although I shouldn't condone that sort of thing, because I think it's technically, you're not supposed to do that unless you own the original game on disc, but you can't buy that game anywhere anymore. I mean, you probably can. I've actually seen it on Amazon for like $50 because people are like, you know, you can't really get that game anymore. Can you hear some coal? I bought it from Best Buy when I was... I bought it from Best Buy the same time I bought my PlayStation 2. I bought my PlayStation 2 when I was... I forget how old I was. I think I was 14, but it was 2004. And yeah, that's accurate. 14 in 2004, 24 in 2014. So in 2004, I purchased my PlayStation 2 and Dark Cloud 2. And after a debacle where the third-party memory card I bought didn't work, but I still wanted to play the game, I literally, the first day that I had the game, I had to play it without being able to save. So all the all the progress I made that first day got lost, but it didn't really matter a whole lot because I didn't make a ton of progress anyway. I want to get more stone before I start cooking it. That was hilariously funny because I was playing it and then I knew that I was gonna have to do all this stuff over again, but I didn't care at all because I just wanted to play it. I remember that is the game that got me to buy a PlayStation 2 because I was over at my cousin's house and he had it, and so I stayed over there for a week and I would play his PlayStation 2, and that was the game that I played because that's the game that I really liked that game, man. Almost as soon as I turned it on, as soon as I started playing it, I was in love with it. And it's not really it's quite obvious as to why. I mean, if you know that game at all, that game really suits my style. Oops. But oh man, the story was great, the characters were interesting, and it's one of the few games, I can say that there are a few games that do it. It's one of the few games that actually gets me involved in the characters, and I actually care what happens to them. That's difficult to do for a game. With me, it's difficult for a game to make me care about the characters. So when a game does that, it's something special. Like, I'll admit, as much as I love Mass Effect, there's only one character that I really cared about. Well, no, I should say that. The interesting thing about Mass Effect for me is that I didn't care nearly as much about Shepard as I did about the other characters. Like, I didn't really empathize with Shepard at all because I was controlling what, you know, I was basically Shepard, so I didn't really care about Shepard, but I really cared about the other characters. And it was hilarious to me because the first time I played the game, of course, I usually play games that have morality systems. I usually play them as the quote-unquote good path first, and then I'll go back in the second time and play the quote-unquote evil path, like when I was playing KOTOR, which, by the way, is another amazing game. I played the light side first, and then I went back and played the dark side, and I enjoyed both of those. The thing about Mass Effect, though, was that if I wanted to be mean to people while being Renegade, there were characters that I just could not bring myself to be mean to, which is hilarious, and it's actually really great when you think about it, that a game made me care enough about the feelings of a fictional character that I didn't want to hurt their feelings. Specifically, that was Tali. She was my favorite character in the Mass Effect games, and I haven't played Mass Effect 3, so no spoilers. I haven't played that. If you post a Mass Effect 3 spoiler in the comments, I will block you from my channel. That's the only warning you're going to get. I don't like spoilers at all. So, I'm going to go up here and finish this now. I actually cared about Tali's feelings, and I didn't want to hurt her feelings, so when I was playing Renegade, even though it would have made sense for me to shout at her at one point in the game and make her feel bad, I literally could not bring myself to do it. I felt bad. Like, I felt too bad, so I had to... Because usually when I play the quote-unquote evil side in my second playthrough, I try and play it, you know, as evil as possible. Like, I usually try and be a complete goody-goody paragon of justice the first time around, and then the second time I'm just a complete, you know, jerk. In every possible way, just an absolutely complete jerk, with no middle ground. And I'm actually going to go ahead and turn those stairs. So even though it... Oh, good, I made it. Even though it would have made sense for my character to be mean to Tali, I couldn't do it. And it's few games that are able to do that, and I think the games that are able to do that are the best games. It's just my opinion. The absolute best games are the ones that actually get you invested in the characters to that kind of a point. And that's, like I said, that's difficult to do. And KOTOR did it as well. With Bastila, I mean, I did care. I did care what happened to her. I think a little more so with Mission Veo, so I really cared about her, so I wanted to, I didn't want to be mean to her and stuff, but yeah, so a few characters that were able to get me to do that, and those are my favorite games. So Dark Cloud 2, that game is different than the games that I like fell gently to the, the boots make me fall gently to the ground. I did not know that. Dark Cloud 2 is a different one because unlike games like KOTOR and stuff, you are not your main character. Like in Dark Cloud, the main characters are characters, so you don't get to decide what they're like. They are just like that, which it provides for a different type of experience. There's something to be said for a game developer making the main character... Okay, I did take damage that time, but it seemed like the last time... Did I have to hold shift to do it? I don't know what it was. It seemed like I drifted gently to the ground, rather than... I didn't play that very well. It seemed like I drifted gently to the ground rather than fall and get hurt. That was kind of weird. I'm assuming it was the boots because they had durability loss when I went back in. But there is something to be said both for main character that you can change the personality of while you play, and ones that are pre-scripted. Because wow, those guys are really coming for me. Because the ones that are pre-scripted, I'm trying to explain this, and you might not agree with me, and it might be the opposite for you, but for me at least, I enjoy getting to know their personalities. Oh wow, this touch spell has a lot longer range than I thought it did. He was embezzling. I enjoy getting to know their personalities and the relationships that they develop independently of me, because I can't control the story. I'm just playing through the story. So I like both types of games. And Dark Cloud 2 made me care about the characters so much. I literally could empathize with every single character in that entire game, which is not something that happens almost ever, pretty much. Actually, I think that's the only game where I cared about every character. Even the first Dark Cloud game, which I actually played after I played Dark Cloud 2, because I like Dark Cloud 2, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to get the second one. And I know that if you're in another country other than the United States, they're not called Dark Cloud, they're called Dark Chronicle. But in the United States, I don't know why they did that, but they changed the name to Dark Cloud. I don't know if Chronicle was taken by something else that was in the US at the time. Maybe somebody who knows about video game history could enlighten me. But I didn't care about them as much because they weren't as well developed. Because that game didn't have voice acting. I think that's a big thing. I think that was a big part of it, was that Dark Cloud 2 fully voice acted. Well, not fully. Of course, there are more mundane little things that aren't voice acted. It's that sort of style where the important stuff is voice acted and the mundane stuff isn't. You know, like you still have dialogue boxes, but there's a lot of voice dialogue, and the main characters. I think I'm probably gonna get this wrong because I actually haven't played the game in ages, but I think that all of the main characters' dialogue is voiced. But that might not actually be the case. Die. Mana elemental. Die! Yeah, this guy just does not want to die. I don't think I'm healing it with this. I don't think that's a thing. Oh, there we go. Maybe magic damage isn't the best type to use against those guys. But, yeah. I love that game so much. Like, I actually cared about the characters so much that there's a point in the game where, you know... I don't want to spoil anything if you haven't played the thing. But, you know, it was at the point where if something had happened to one of the characters, I would have been actually devastated. It would have hurt me, actually. Which is something that I think all story-based games that are based around characters should strive to do. But, oh man, it is so difficult. Because you have to be right on point with the character. Like, you have to make sure that in every interaction, that character is behaving in the way that that character should behave. Because anything that that character does that the player looks at and says, hey, wait a second, there's no way this guy would have done that because of what he did previously in this game, and you can cite various instances, then that breaks that characterization. That you look at that and you're like, okay, well, they're not really gonna, if they're not gonna stick to a cohesive character, then, you know, what do I care? I mean, this guy isn't really a person at this point, because he just completely did something that he would not ever do based on what his established morals, which is something that people don't generally do in the real world, except under extreme duress. Like, you would never hurt somebody, but if, like, I mean, this is extreme. This is probably the most extreme example ever. Like, you're the kind of person who would never ever hurt anyone. You find yourself in a survival situation where the option is die or cannibalism, then you might eat somebody because you don't want to die. That is an extreme example, but it takes those kind of extremes of situation to get people to do something that is radically opposed to their usual beliefs and usual behavior. That's what it takes, that kind of thing. If in a video game the character just on a whim ignores his previously held, as long as those beliefs were strongly held. I mean, if the character doesn't have strongly held morals, then yeah, I mean, you can see a situation where they might go ahead and do something that they wouldn't have done previously. But, you know, now it's like, oh, okay, well, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I think this is fine. This house is a bit crazier anyway. Let's build this up. And I'm probably going to have to build something onto the side of this wall to make it look not so weird. There's going to be like an overhang built over this, so that's going to probably come off from right there, so it's going to be a bit of roof there, which will help break that up. And, you know, we might end up putting something on here, but I think it looks fine. And we got to build this up. But yeah, in reality, in order for somebody to break with their deeply held morals, it takes a ridiculously extreme situation. Like, I would never kill anybody, except under... Ooh, there's a Petch. I don't know how to pronounce that. Like, I would never kill anyone, except under one situation. If I had children and they were trying to hurt my child, then you can be dang well sure that there ain't nothing gonna stop me from defending my child. But that is an extreme situation, and that, again, that's what it takes. if your character is going to just, whenever you need him to, break with his morals and do something, that's just lazy writing. That shows that for one, you're not dedicated to your character. Oh, that's the end of this. It shows that, for one, you're not dedicated to your character and keeping them thematic to themselves, and it also shows that you were too lazy to come up with something else, or put him in a situation that would do that. Like, you just didn't care. You just wanted to go for expedience. And that ruins characters for me. And, you know, if that doesn't happen, and if they keep a cohesive character and I empathize with that character, that's the best games ever for me. So hey, this would be a fun thing for the comments. Let me know what game made you actually empathize with its characters. Are there any characters in video games that you've played that, if you were in that situation, you would want to protect, or what event from a game involving a character really hurt or really dug home with you? Has a game ever made you cry? That's an interesting question, I think, for the comments. So stay tuned for the next episode. It's coming as well later today. So I hope you're enjoying the series. I'm SentinalhMC, and I'm signing out.